and welcome to kind of a pickups video, but it's a new series I've created. This one is to replace the Music Magpie series. Yeah, I'd basically run out of games to buy from Music Magpie, especially on the the offers like the 2 for £3 deals and 3 for £5 deals. Basically got all the games that I could possibly get on those deals. Obviously that then meant that I would have to go on to the more pricier titles, which I'm not prepared to do. I'm not prepared to risk it. It's the same principle with CEX roulette. I'm not prepared to take that gamble, even with Music Magpie. So I come up with this new series. My wife bought me this games bundle, and you won't believe what happened. Yeah, clickbaity title, clickbaity thumbnail, purely all done purely on purpose for a laugh. And the premise of this is basically my wife has looked on eBay, searched for certain things, certain parameters if you like, that I've given her, and I've gave her a budget of £25, and she's bought me some games. I have no idea what's in them. I'll just take a drink of tea. So this first instalment, she's got me these. There's 3 separate bundles. Like I said, I've no idea what she's got me. So the parameters that I give her, basically in her saved search, she's got Amstrad Games Bundle, Spectrum Games Bundle, Commodore 64 Games Bundle, Sega Master System Games Bundle, but I specifically told her no games in boxes, just the cartridges, and PS1 Games Bundles. I didn't go with PS2 Games Bundles because I've got over 900 games for the PS2. You know, it's pretty unlikely that she's going to be able to pick anything up that I haven't already got. Don't get me wrong, there is still bundles out there. You know, there might be 10 games in there and one of them I don't have. But to me, there's no point. I mean, obviously my wife hasn't got a clue what games I've got in my collection. My Spectrum collection, if you like. I am starting to concentrate a little bit more on 8-bit in the future as well. Spectrum, I've only got a handful of titles. Amstrad, don't own any titles, so anything she buys me for the Amstrad, you know, is going to be new to the collection. Sega Master System, again, I only own a handful of cartridges. What else did I say? Commodore 64, you know, yeah, I've got a little bit of Commodore 64. There's absolutely thousands and thousands of titles for that system. So again, in fact, when I look at Commodore 64 bundles, there's still a lot of bundles where I don't own any of the games. And PlayStation 1, I think I own just 900 titles for that. So again, you know, there's chance that a bundle she buys me is gonna have a good few titles that I don't own. Anyway, let's get on with it. This is just going to be once a month. It's more for a bit of fun, like I said, than anything, than serious collecting. But I'm actually looking forward, because I have no idea what she's bought me, and that's the beauty. I love the surprise element of this. So let's start then. And I've had a little feel of this. First, because it's jiffy wrap, there's bubble wrap there. First I thought maybe this is Master System cartridges, but when I'm pressing on either side, I can't actually feel the indent. You know, where the chip is. So I am assuming that this is actually 3 or 4 tape games. So this is the first one. I've got my trusty knife, albeit a bit blunt. We'll just gently score. I'm really excited because right, this first one has got a red case. If I'm not mistaken, red cases were usually Mastertronic, would it? Possibly. We've made progress on this first one, and it's gonna. Yeah, I were right. I were very right. Right, but I don't know what system it's for. So first up, we've got Formula One Simulator, and it's a Commodore 64. So I know that this bundle is Commodore 64. Formula One Simulator, it is Mastertronic, like I said. The 199 range. Look at that old logo, Mastertronic logo. Look at the artwork though on that. That is brilliant. Brings back a lot of memories, does Formula One Simulator. It's very basic looking. Almost, I think it was a kind of pole position style game. I'll just try and zoom in on those screenshots. But it was a decent game. Whether it was as good as pole position, I don't know. I don't know if it had the pit stop element to it, changing the tyres. But yeah, not much scenery in this kind of game. You've got a green, you've got a grey track with red and white chevrons all the way around the tracks. Green fields, I suppose, and a blue sky. And that was pretty much it. But this was quite early on in the Commodore's life. We've got 1985. So there's still a lot to learn at that point. Programmers for the Commodore. I'm well chuffed with that. Formula One Simulator, and I do believe that may be the first Mastertronic game I do own for the Commodore 64. So what is the next one? Right. Oh, I tell you what. This is, even though it's got a little bit of stickerage on, this is Rattler, and it's by Atlantis. Atlantis were a budget label, and they really weren't very good. Mastertronic, and likes of Firebird, they, even though they have their fair share of crap, they did produce some really good games on the budget release, which could have justified a full price release. Firebird, for instance, the Eyeball and Eyeball 2, Mastertronic, is it Chiller, Kane, those kind of games. They were pretty good releases for $1.99. Atlantis were a little bit naff. This is Rattler. If I don't know this game, but I guess I'm assuming it's probably like the snake game that you used to get on the mobile phones, where you eat something and your snake grows, and you've got to try not to hit any of the sides or yourself. I just have a look in the instructions. This is the tape. I didn't show you the other tape. Like I said, a little bit of stickerage to get off. Atlantis, yeah. Here we are. We've got a bit of blurb. Rattler needs to feed, but without your guidance, he'll slither to a halt. Help him eat all the eggs, but avoid the balls, and make sure he doesn't tie himself in knots or touch the walls. Exactly. 15 screens, 5 skill levels, and 5 ball options combined to give 375 different levels of play. It is exactly what I said. This probably has enemies on screen as well. I mean, it's hard enough without enemies. But that's Rattler by Atlantis. That is definitely the first Atlantis game I've got for the Commodore 64. There is 4 games in here. Tell you what, My wife, I swear to God, she's got these. I didn't know anything, and she has no idea. But unbeknowingly to her, she got me the right bundle here. This is Munchman 64. Guess what game that's ripping off? This is by Solar Software. Now, Solar Software is a pretty unknown publisher for the C64. I mean, look at this. Look at that at the top. It's 100% machine code. No basic crap for this game. It's machine code. I don't know too much about coding, but I do know that machine code was a more advanced way of programming for games. Basic war, as it says, it was a little bit basic. Yeah, we've got some kind of orange circular creature with some fruit in his hand and a power pill and a maze and some ghosts. Yeah, it's ripping off Pac-Man without a shadow of a doubt. That is the cassette. Munchman 64. I've never actually played this, though I do recall the name is very familiar, Munchman 64. Munch your way around the maze, eating the dots while avoiding 4 hungry ghosts. A power pill in each corner of the maze, when eaten, allows you to gobble the ghost for a short time. Delicious fruits yield high bonus points, and a free muncher is given at 20,000 points. So, complete rip-off. But they could get away with it back then, and that was the beauty of it. You know, there were just absolutely, probably hundreds of Pac-Man clones around for the 8-bit systems. And then lastly, we've got another Mastertronic game. And you know what? I don't think I've heard of this one, and don't know how hard to find this is, because I said I've never heard of it. And we have got here Bionic Granny. Now, the Master System collection is quite hard to finish off, apparently. It's something I've toyed with the idea, even while collecting the Firebird, Silverbird collection. I did toy with starting the Mastertronic, but I did watch another YouTuber, and I remember him saying that it was quite hard to get hold. Certain titles were really hard to get hold of. So I thought, is there any point? You know, it's like the 8 squads here. You're going to be, looking to pay a lot for if ever those hard to find titles do ever crop up. Anyway, Bionic Granny. Like I said, I've never heard of this one. I never owned this game at all back in the day when I had my Commodore 64. You know, the main Mastertronic games were BMX Racer, Formula 1 Simulator, and games like that. Bionic Granny. Let's see if we can find a bit of blurb. She lurks outside the school gates, waiting to surprise any unsuspecting kids. When the hands on the school clock reach 4 o'clock, her fun begins. Despite all the efforts of teachers and lollipop ladies, she sometimes manages to zap the kids with her laser-powered brolly. Better run for your life before she gets you too. I thought it said before she gets your tool. A little bit of weirdness going on there. Bionic Granny. Yeah, don't know if this is based on anything. What a TV show, wasn't there? A kids' TV show. Something to do with a granny. But in the TV show, she was a hero, not an enemy, not something to avoid. That is Bionic Granny by Mastertronic. So Like I said, all those were on the Commodore 64. Really happy with that first bundle. I've got two more parcels to open up. So let's move on to the second box. Don't know if she's got Commodore 64 again. I'm going to go with this hard cardboard box parcel, and this should open up nice and easy. I tell you what, we've got some Master System games. I wasn't expecting that, and we've got 4. I've just took a quick peek inside. The first one is World Grand Prix. So in a pretty similar vein to Formula 1 Simulator, it's a racing game, and yeah, pretty basic racing game, even for the Master System. But obviously this one, it looks a lot better. Several tracks and worldwide tracks, I believe. We've got the obligatory red and white chevrons guiding you on the road. We've got it's a bit more colourful, but it's the same principle. It's just a racing game, but it is done really well. It's pretty smooth, and it does run at a decent, fair old pace. So I did have this when I used to have my Master System. This is in nice condition. There's no stickerage or anything on there. But yeah, I did own this when I had my first Master System. Yeah, the Master System, I'm going car only. That's going to be a feat in itself, in all honesty. Never mind the boxes and manuals. But that's the first one, World Grand Prix. I don't already own that one. Let's see what's next. Super Tennis. Not sure if I do already own this one. I may do. But even so, any spares I'm gonna get, any doubles, they're just for trade. So, like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I do already own this. I think I may have got it from Direct Deals when I went with Big Game Al last year, and it would, because obviously it's not a rare game by any means, so it was pretty cheap. I'll have to look into it, but this may possibly be a trade. But this is Super Tennis. Very colourful game. Plays a little bit on the slow side, I think. It's not a bad game, and it's certainly not one of the worst tennis games. And for the Master System, it is a really good addition. It is a good game. Like I say, it just plays a little bit slow. When you do that's my best way of describing it. But yeah, in my opinion, it needs a little bit more pace to it. But like I said, even so, pretty decent game. And like I said, this could be for trade. We'll see. So on to the next one. There's 2 more in here. One of them sure had a blue white label. There we go. Absolutely brilliant game. This is World Class Leaderboard. The Leaderboard series are, in my opinion, one of the best golfing games around. PGA Tour on the Mega Drive were a really good golfing game, if I do remember correctly. But the Leaderboard series were probably one of the best on the 8-bit systems. I started off with Leaderboard on the Commodore 64, and I remember at the time I was absolutely gobsmacked how good, how how well programmed it was. For an 8-bit system to be, you know, generating these courses, and each time you took a shot, it like loaded the scenery around you. A couple of seconds, you know, to do that, but it didn't matter. Obviously, on the Master System, we picked up pace a little bit, but the same physics are still there, and it is a cracking game. I will be giving this a go. My lockup, I have been plugging up some consoles to a couple of TVs that I've installed, and the Master System is going to be hooked up to my little portable telly. Unless I can get it hooked up to my big LCD TV, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the excuse me, the Mark 1 Master System does have RGB output capability. Can't quite tell. I know the Mark II doesn't, does it? It's just RF. But anyway, this is fantastic. I'm really pleased with this. World class leaderboard. Again, this is a nice clean cartridge. This will buy US Gold. One of the better games that they produced. And then lastly, it's another blue and white label, and this is Super Kickoff. I must admit, I'm never really into the Kickoff series, Super Kickoff. Yeah, I've never really gone into it. I know the style of the Kickoff series is, you know, it were unique at the time, but yeah, I just never quite got into it. My preference of choice, albeit on the Amiga, was Sensible Soccer. I used to love that game. That was the only football game really that I played a lot back in the 8-bit days, 8-bit, 16-bit. No, sorry, Microprose Soccer. I did play that on the Commodore 64. Amiga, I jumped to Sensible Soccer, Sensi Soccer. And other than like management games, those were really the only proper football games I played. So I don't have this, so this will go into the collection, but it's not one I'm going to be playing, in all honesty. Super Kickoff. That's by US Gold as well. Game cartridge is in lovely condition. Whoever owned these kept them nice and clean. So 2 parcels out of 3. I'm really pleased with them. I'm really pleased so far with how this is turning out. So we're on to the last package. I have felt this. It bends in the middle. It bends lengthways. I do believe there's 4 cassette games in here. What system they're for? We'll have to find out. Don't need the knife for this. Right, I can see from one of the labels at the bottom, this is a Spectrum bundle. Fantastic. I do have a lot of love for the Spectrum. I know I tend to be more biased towards Commodore, but I started with a Spectrum 48K, little rubber keyboard, and I had a couple of years of absolute immense fun with the Spectrum. I used to own hundreds of games, copies obviously. So I have played a hell of a lot of Spectrum. I've played a hell of a lot of Commodore games. So, you know, this is my forte. I know I collect predominantly for the PS2, and I do have, you know, a little bit of knowledge with the PS2, but nowhere near as much knowledge as I do the Spectrum and Commodore. In all honesty, I don't. Well, let's have a look. Do you know what? Wow, this is taking me right back to Christmas Day when I got my Spectrum 48K. This was one of the bundled games. There were about 6 games I think that came bundled with the Spectrum. Checkered Flag, Make a Chip, Survival. Bummy neck. There were a couple of others. Wow, this is brilliant. Checkered Flag. It's a racing game, but it is very basic. This is, you know, there's no scenery. If I remember right, there's no scenery at all with this. Just green fields that your track runs alongside, and a blue sky. Not even anything on the horizon, I don't believe. Oh wow. This was made by Scion. Scion, were they actually owned by Sinclair? Not quite sure. Nice silver, what do they call it? Cassette label. Yeah, ever wanted to drive a Formula 1 racing car flat out round the circuit? Checkered Flag places you behind the steering wheel. You'll need one eye on the road and one on the dashboard as you steer and brake to avoid hazards and work your way through the gears in search of a lap record. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you do have gears, obstacles I imagine are other cars, but that is about it. I've just looked on the inside, and it does actually just re-jog my memory a little bit. From Scion Software, Hodisco Skiing, that was one of the other games I got on Christmas Day that year when I got me. Scrabble, that were another, and chess. VU Calc, VU 3D pack, I can't remember, possibly one of those as well. This is quite moving really, I must admit. I've actually got a game, and you know what we're talking, 80, 81, 82, 92, you know, 40 years later, good 40 years later, and I've come full circle. I've got the game that I got with my very first computer, with Spectrum. It's really something, isn't it? It's in good condition. It's in really good condition actually. I might have to break down and cry. It's crazy, isn't it? All these years later, 40 years later, and Checkered Flag. I'm going to move on before I start bawling. That's fantastic. It's almost like Alice has got psychic powers to what games, you know, are going to tick the boxes for me. Anyway, next. Right. Alternative Software, and this is Rally Driver. Rally Driver, like I said, it's by Alternative Software. Now I do have a little story about Alternative Software. I may have mentioned it at some point. I actually did work experience there when we were at school. I don't know if I still do it nowadays. When we were at school, probably in the final year of school, they used to organise all the pupils to go and work experience. And basically, you did two weeks somewhere of your choice, really, as long as the school could arrange it for you. And I asked to work at Alternative Software, who were based in Pontefract. That's what happened. Not quite what I wanted, really. I mean, I thought I were going to be sat with programmers, you know, coders, learning stuff. The thing is, with Alternative Software in Pontefract, they actually distributed games as well. They didn't just program them; they actually acted as a distributor. And they had a warehouse, young lads order picking games, sending them out to shops wherever. They put me in an office, and they sat me at this computer, and basically it was just a database of what stock they had in. I couldn't do anything with it. All I could do was type in a game name, and it showed me how much stock they had of that game. And for 2 weeks I just sat there looking at the screen, you know, eventually just typing the game in, probably for about the 50th time, seeing how many we've got left. really wasn't what I expected. I did, however, get to meet Roger. I can't remember his surname. He owned Alternative Software. I remember he had a Porsche 911. I shook hands with him. That was probably my claim to gaming fame, if you like. I shook hands with Roger. And he, you know, I mean, he wasn't aware of exactly what I was doing at the time there. And have you enjoyed it? Hope you enjoy it, you know. And obviously, as a young like, yeah, it's been good, thank you. It was shite. It was rubbish. In fact, my mum and dad did tell me, why don't you ask if you can go into warehouse with lads and you know do some order picking or something. I was very shy, very nervous and shy, and I didn't. But yeah, that's Alternative Software. I don't believe Alternative Software produced rugby games for the modern systems. But anyway, this is Rally Driver, and don't believe those screenshots are the Spectrum. The Spectrum is very garish, shall we say. It's got bright green fields either side, got a black track. The mountains in the background are pink and the sky's blue, cyan blue. So yeah, very garish. It's not an overly good game, to be honest, but it does have a few little fun things, like cows in the road. You've got to avoid the cows, but it is a bit twitchy, and yeah, it's asking the Spectrum to do a lot. Rally Driver, you need, you know, as a rally game, the fast. I mean, any racing game is, but you know, there needs to be a lot of hills and stuff like that. There's none of that on this. Weirdly, there's on the main track, you've got a side road. It shows you in that screen, if I can get it to focus a little bit. You can't go down them. You don't even know why they're there. But yeah, Rally Driver. Artwork is, you know, pretty good. But as with a lot of these 8-bit games, the artwork made it look better than the actual game was. Even so. This is a typical Alternative Software label, the two-tone. And, you know, at the end of the day, it was a budget label, so as you can expect, pretty not very good game, not very good racing game, I should say. Anyway, that is Rally Driver, and that's for, like I said, this is the Spectrum bundle, so that's for the Spectrum. 2 racing games. I wonder if this were a racing game bundle. Let's see. Quite possibly. Nigel Mansell's Grand Prix. And this is by, I've never heard of him. Never heard of. Wow, I've just noticed something. This is React. Now, I have never ever known this. Never. Let's see if I can focus that address. That's Alternative Software's address. Right, after doing a bit of research, I do think that React is like Alternative Software version of like re-releases. So whereas the Alternative Software brand is their own games, I believe React is it's what the re-release games on. This game, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've done my research alright, and it's a Martech game. It's actually originally a Martech game. I mean, CMVG have rated it. I'm no Nigel Mansell when it comes to racing, but this sim gives you a taste of life in the fast lane. Experience it. It's a pretty decent racing game. It's it plays very fast. But the side of the track, rather than just bland a bland colour, you've got stripes. it varies in colour, it changes colour depending on the level, but yeah, it gives a good sense of speed for the Spectrum. You've got car sound effects, pretty decent. But yeah, like I said, I do believe this was originally a Martech release. That is what the cassette label looks like. There's nothing on the back. Got a bit of just a few instructions in here. See, it got quite a few reviews from Your Sinclair, very clever simulation. Sinclair user, technically superb. They want to give an alternative software release of those kind of reviews. I'm pretty sure of that. But it doesn't say anything about Martech on the inlay. I might be wrong. Even so, plays pretty fast. It plays alright. Certainly one of the better racing games for the Spectrum. But that's by React, or alternative software that I've just learned. And then finally, it's got to be a racing game. Oh yes, I'll tell you what, I'm really pleased with this. This could be an all new subset. I'm not going to go down that road. But I do remember actually looking for this. I'll tell you what it is first off. It's this is a Silverbird release, Firebird Silverbird release. This is 3D Stock Car Championship. It's basically like a super sprint kind of game. Really good games actually. I've never played this. Never had this. Never owned this when I was a Spectrum owner back in the day. But I do remember when I was collecting for the Commodore 64 set of Silverbird. Because when I first started collecting, obviously I didn't know that the list I had covered all formats. It didn't just cover Commodore, it covered all formats. So obviously I was looking for games which never got released on the Commodore. And I remember this being one of the first games, tearing my hair out trying to get hold of it. Because obviously in alphabetical order it's one of the first games, numerics. Until eventually I did realise that it would never release on the Commodore, which was a big relief. I would love to collect the Silverbird range on the Spectrum. But the thing is, I'm cutting back a little bit. As some of you will know very soon, I'm cutting back my collection a little bit. Not so much software, hardware. I need to make room for other stuff. Like I said, I am now going to concentrate more on 8-bit alongside my PS2 and my COD collection. But other than that, yeah, I'm so tempted to start another subset, but you know, it's going down the rabbit hole, isn't it? And we're branching off to all kinds of places within that rabbit hole, and I really ought to just stick to this for now. That is the first Silverbird game I've got for the Spectrum. It's a 3D Stock Car Championship. I've never played it. That artwork. This is the thing with old 8-bit games. I love the artwork. That's not the best artwork, but it's artwork all the same. It's somebody's, you know, custom design that, drawn that for that particular game. That is fantastic. 3D Stock Car Championship on the Spectrum. That concludes this first episode of My Wife Bought Me This Games Bundle, and you won't believe what happened. You won't believe what happened. I've got some cracking games there. Can't believe it myself. And I'm really looking forward to the next one. I wish I had one to do right now. Like I said, I love that sense of surprise, that element of not knowing what it is. I just feel that there's more satisfaction when you see something. Checkered flag, for instance, absolutely fantastic. You know, that to me, I think that is the. If I'm going to pick one game out of that bundle which has brought more memories back for me, it's Checkered Flag. Absolutely, one of the very first games I ever owned. That is brilliant. Anyway, that's it for now. And hope you enjoy this new series. And stay tuned for more in the future. But until next time, thanks for watching, everyone, and see you later.